Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, here I am, Deborah Beauvais, founder and owner of the Dream Vision 7 radio network, the Kids for Love Project radio show, and the project itself. And if you're tuning in for the first time, we are a Boston-based, syndicated, full-producing internet radio station focused on holistic ideas, tools, modalities, and how to bring more kind, uplifting wonder into your life. So check us out. It's Dream Visions, all one word with an S on the end, the number 7 radio.com. You'll see all the amazing hosts. And while I'm thinking, one of our new hosts, she has a podcast, is Cheryl Bradley, and she's a spiritual medium and teacher, and her show is If It's Right, It's Light, and it's every Thursday, 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, so check that out. So my guest today is Charlie Siegel. He just happens to be the one and only oldest grandchild of Dr. Bernie Siegel. So that's exciting in itself. We've had him on the show before, so you can go on the Dream Vision site and put in Charlie Siegel, and you can listen to some of the earlier shows. We're going to be focused on his 4th book. He's only in his 20s, and he's already 4th book. And it's called Awakening the Inner Light to Walk the Path of the Soul. Now, Charlie is a best-selling author, and he is also a professional fine art, nature, wildlife, and landscape photographer. His photos are phenomenal. And the book that he has completed recently that we're talking about, the pictures are just incredible. Some of the ones that I love are in Iceland, and it's just, I didn't know there was that much beauty in Iceland. So without further ado, Charlie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Nice to be back.
Yes. So let's get right into it. What I would like to, because I think it's an excellent bringing up, that your mom has a spiritual shop, Wisdom of the Ages, and your dad is Keith, right? And
That's
isn't
right.
he a massage therapist?
Yeah, massage therapist and like home health aide, like helping the elderly is his kind of favorite thing in his work.
Because Bernie has said many times how Keith's massages have really helped soothe him within.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So your dad, I didn't quite know that your dad was Keith, because I know the 6'5". But bottom line is, you were surrounded with your grandmother as well as your dad, who came from there. And so you grew up with such an energy of spirituality surrounding you. I would be surprised if you weren't the person you are today. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm grateful. I like to say I got it from both sides, and different types of spirituality and backgrounds on either side also. Like my grandfather you mentioned, since I was a kid, I've been like sharing my own creative project stuff with him, and he would send me back like emails of poems he wrote and things he saw in the yard that inspired him. And so we've always been kind of keyed in together on all these type of topics. We ended up coming out with When You Realize How Perfect Everything Is in 2020. That's both of our poetry on similar topics. I think we were on together with you.
Yes.
With that.
Yes, you were.
And then on my mom's side, she grew up meditating, and my grandparents on her side taught spiritual development classes and like how to find that good feeling spirituality in everyday modern life. So yes, she built the store out of growing up doing all of that, and we teach meditation classes and working with crystals and all that. And so I think like my photography and writing are sort of my own expression of that path continuing on.
Exactly. Now, when you think back at all the things that you were exposed to and experienced, is there any one thing that stands out that was more profound than any of the other experiences in that type of environment?
I know growing up being really like respectful of nature, connected with nature has been a big thing for me. It's funny, like that I must have been so little. I have some memory of like sitting in a park on the grass with my parents, and I was like picking at the grass like a kid, like picking with whatever's around them. And my mom used it as a nice teaching moment on like the grass is a living thing and has feelings too. Like don't beat it up, pick it up when you don't have to. And that kind of feeling, like that's a little memory of that. But a lot of examples of that through my life. I feel like that's led into my photography career, that I started it off with like seeing a lot of people feeling disconnected from nature, but knowing like, well, if we reconnect, there's so many great studies on how it immediately helps us. So I do my work as like a window into nature's beauty, where I'm kind of like out of the way, like let me just represent stuff that is like older than us, bigger than us, help people connect with all that.
Yeah, and even your writing is quite, you can tell that you have really grown in your spiritual journey to a point where you're speaking of all these things in a way that one knows that you're further along on your journey and what you have acquired from your own experiences. We've said this, I know I've said this before, that you're an old soul, and I'm sure that people still say that to you because of your energy, your essence. Everything is, you feel the light that's within you. And if we could actually produce that in a larger way to many human beings out there, it would be such a glorious thing to really turn the world around. Although, from a higher perspective, everything that's happening on the outside is the, expansion of the elevation, as one would say, of the human race. And we're going into a different phase that we will be more kind, more loving, more unity consciousness, coming together to improve and to fix things, especially the nature and everything that comes with that. So, yeah, you're very much part of that already, Charlie. How does that make you feel? Like, I mean,
thanks. So that's the goal. Yeah, and I did this new book, Awakening the Inner Light, and I decided that title on it because that's what you were mentioning. That's the focus. Like, help as many people as possible to realize like they've got the light in them, and that like I do all the stuff with nature, and that's like a way you can connect and get into a good state and honor where we come from and all. But then my writing, I've been focusing it a lot on like helping people find the goodness inside. It's an anonymous quote I came across, but it was to help flowers bloom in the saddest parts of you, and I was like, that like that's a big focus of what I'm writing about. and like ways that you can find the inspiration. And I put the book together that it has 160 something different poems and short stories I've written over the last 10 years. Each one of them gets a photograph themed with it, and they are like compiled in an organized way. But I've been hearing a lot of nice feedback from people that are more like just randomly opening it to a page every morning and getting a little boost that way. But yeah, just like you were saying, that's the goal, is let's get as many people uplifted as we can.
Yes, I like your term boost, because even if you're in if everyone's busy and flying by the seat of their pants, but you can take your book, and it's a sizable book, and open it. And that's what I've been doing, is opening it at different areas. One of the poems that I really, there's a lot that I like, but one of them is... Please let me into the earth, I cried. It's a prayer for the ceiling, prayer for the soul.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
It says, my voice eloquent but firm, my cries escaped me, and I plummeted to the land, seeking fulfillment, seeking destiny. And it just touched me on what we really hope to connect with and why we came here.
Yeah. I've thought of it like if we all have a little seed from heaven in us, like we've all got our mission, our purpose, and that could be like at home in your family, can be out into the world, but we've all got that little driving force inside. And one day it just kind of dawned on me how much like a human life is really like a seed, and a lot, it seems to happen more and more as I write. I kind of discover certain things, and as I do my photography, I'll notice like oh, this thing in nature is like exactly the same as something we're going through that's different, but like mimics the template of it so totally. So I like pointing that out when I can. Right.
I like the poems where you're asking a question, because you're talking about this particular poem. You're talking about, with the love that I carry in my heart, I am enough. And then let us wonder, as we ponder these pages, is it the soul who has written these words, or is it the planted seed? So it brings you to think beyond and contemplate, are we seeds? Did we come, were we born here through, choosing a container, as one would say, before we came? Or are we just a little seedling?
Yeah. I love that kind of pondering type of thing. There's a whole school of Buddhism that takes Zen koans that are like unanswerable questions and meditates on them, and I like that kind of thing. When you find that, like it's inspirational and calming in a way, because you can't answer it, so you stay in that questioning mind.
Yes, and that's a perfect. I agree with you. I love asking questions and pondering, because it's such a mystery, as we know. We most likely will never know until we're back in the light. And then if we come here again, we forget that all the things, so that we can grow our souls, as I say, and advance. I just find it all so fascinating, but you can spend so much time just thinking about it. And I don't know about you, but in different ways, I've come to have peace in areas where I have my own little understanding, whether it is actual or not, I don't know, but it resonates with me. And so I kind of hold on to that until something else comes along to change that belief into something even closer to reality, if there is.
That's nice.
Yeah. Thank you. So, you were actually in Iceland, right?
Yeah, all the photos in the book are also from like the last 10 years or so, when I've written the poems with them. So there's a whole collection of photos from the U.S., from Iceland, and from Japan. Yeah, and Iceland is like so much untouched nature and like purity out there, and I like it. Instead of like college for photography, I went twice to Iceland and did some trips where they would do like the technical manual camera setting stuff, but like you're in Iceland, you can take the pictures while you're here. And so I got to really experience the Northern Lights quite a bit on the second time, and some really unique landscapes and interesting little moss formations, and it was a fun collection of things. Some of them just fit so nicely with the poems, like it was like a picture of the message in there.
Yes, I found that. So what an opportunity to be in Iceland twice. For those that are listening in the future, you can actually purchase the prints that Charlie has taken, and believe me, they're striking. It is Nature Photo by S as in Sam, C as in Candy, .com. NaturePhoto by SC.com. So check that out. It's just amazing. And while we're talking, this particular book is Dream Vision 7 Choice Book of the Month. So you might be able to receive it free if you get in on, all you have to do is add your email to the Constant Contact newsletter, which is free, and you can be in the drawing. We have the drawings every month. So do you have, I'm just going to put it out there so you can think about it, do you have a favorite poem that you have in this particular book?
It is pretty hard to pick a favorite. Every time I do like a talk with somebody, I end up coming up with something else for that answer. But I do have a couple that I highlighted today that I kind of had on my mind. I'd be happy to read something whenever you'd like.
Yes, why don't you read one now, and then when we come back from the first break, we can do another.
Okay. Let me just pull it up here. And I organized the book into 4 sections, so that the light within us, that's more like emotional healing and things like that. The light between us is more like connection and relationships. The light surrounding us is more nature, and then the light of the world is more like spirituality and connecting with God and remembering you're part of everything. I'll read one from that last section there. It's called God's Fingerprint. Let's do that.
I like that one too.
Thanks. If mountains rise and rivers flow with the touch of his hand, why not say that my path was wrought with the touch of his finger? My trail has been arduous, so hard to climb. The path has been dirty or muddy or littered with obstacles. My journey has been buttressed by flowers blooming all year when I think of him. God placed his fingerprint, so intricate with its many lines and forms, deep into the soil of this earth before I was born. My path in this life is a journey along the imprint that finger left, over hills and valleys, mountains and streams, all within my own heart. For when the path seems unclear in this world, I turn within and say, "Hello, God," to the warm, radiant light within. And I see that when it can be difficult to see my path correctly in the world around me, God has placed his fingerprint on my soul, and I know my way home.
The ending I love. I got goosebumps when I read it, from the book. And then I've got goosebumps right now with you reading it. I love the end with the fingerprint on your soul. Yeah, that's kind of like the seed thing we were talking about. A little message imprinted on all of us that way. A loving message. Yes. Wow, Charlie, I like. I actually bookmarked that one too. Cool. Yeah. So now let's talk a little bit about, why do you think it's important to live authentically? Some people will say, "Oh, I don't have to go within and find out who I am. I'm just fine the way I am." But it's really, it's really so much deeper than that. So from your perspective, why do you think it's important? Yeah, I do believe in all of us having an imprint or a seed or like a message that way within us that's
something that just kind of springs from you that, this is what I enjoy doing, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And I feel like we're all like slices of a pie, or like cogs in a wheel kind of thing. Like if we're not doing our thing that's put within us, like the big like, let's say, like gears in a watch probably continues to spin okay, but like it's not as pretty, it's not as smooth as if we were all being our own selves and doing our part. And I feel like the more authentic that we are, it's like your gears click into place better. You're better interacting with the world around you, and just supporting the whole process. And it does become difficult some, especially like in today's world. There's less sort of offered opportunity for being your true self a lot of times. Like you got to go and maybe you got to do this job. I was a waiter for a few years, and I found my own enjoyment in parts of it, but that's not like me and my thing. Like you got to figure it out sometimes to make things work here. But to still do a piece of who you are. Like I'll still find my time to write, and I'm already a chunk of the way through my next book. Maybe I'll be back on soon. But doing that, like it kind of makes your spirit sing and makes you be who you can be. I feel like that's important, that we all do our piece that way.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of creativity in our purpose. Once we know that we're where we're going and it excites us, there's a lot of creativity which the soul actually thrives on, and everything you're doing, it all comes back to that soul creativity. So you're right. You're right where you should be, in other words. Took me a while to find, with the station. Before that, I was in sales and different things that I learned, and that's the beauty of different jobs or careers that you have. You can always take what you've learned and apply it into the purpose one. That makes sense,
It does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's you're learning all the time, but to be in that space of knowing what you're to do here in this lifetime, at a young age too, it being in your 20s, that must be so satisfying, and you can just expand and grow from there.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is thanks to how I was raised, and I actually dedicated my awakening the inner light to my mom. That a lot of it is how she raised me with that mindset, and like her doing the store is like her doing her passion and purpose, and that way it works out for everybody. I put in the opening pages of my book that for my mother Jane, who blessed me with a love for all people and a desire to change the world for the better by helping everyone to turn their light on inside. I don't think I'd be really doing all this stuff outside of like a little side enjoyment hobby kind of thing if it wasn't for like raising me, showing me that you can turn it into like a career and a purpose and follow through in a bigger way.
Absolutely. Well, this is a good time to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll be hearing Charlie's next poem that's going to move all of us, whether it's today or next week when we listen to the show again.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seekonk Family Chiropractic in Seekonk, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Calling all authors. Have you been considering an audiobook? Well, look no further. Come take advantage of Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's unique in-house audiobook production, which includes benefits and bonuses from our radio station. Let our knowledgeable staff guide you to create the audiobook you've always dreamed of without breaking the bank. Check out our full one-stop service from A to Z, including the ACX process. Schedule a free consultation by calling 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or go to dreamvision7radio.com.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowdfunded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back, and this is a live show. You can call in, talk with Charlie, my guest, or I have a question, a comment. We would love for you to call in. Bob is in the house, and he'll put you right through. So you just call our toll-free 833-220-1200, 833-220-1200, and Bob will put you right through. So don't wait till the last minute. Okay, well, we are with Charlie Siegel. He is grandson of Dr. Bernie Siegel. I have to put that in. He is the son of Jane and Keith Siegel, and he is an author, a best-selling author now in his 20s. He's on his 4th book, and that's what we're talking about, awakening the inner light to walk the path of the soul. And some questions at the beginning. He says, has life become too heavy? Has the path you walk become scattered with obstacles and littered with struggles? Now that is for everyone. Let this book give you wings to help you rise above. I love that, Charlie. That
Thanks.
Is beautiful, just that first sentence.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
You're welcome. So do you have another poem that you'd like to read?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I had a few set aside today here. I thought I'd do one from the nature section, to the light around us. And it's shattered eggshells. And it's neat that this is one that was, like, sometimes the messages of the poem sort of just pop into my head, and I'll sit with it for a while, and then it comes out in a certain way as a poem. But this is one that was neat, that I drive by these trees every day, that they're lined up in front of a school, and they're like egg-shaped trees, like they're pretty good size. I don't know how they made them all match so well like this, but they're like all lined up just how you see like the eggs lined up in the carton. And then it was right at the end of autumn, like all the leaves had fallen. They looked like like kind of like a lightning bolt kind of feel, like as you look at the way the branches go, like it looks like broken. And then I started to think of like shattered eggshells and how an egg breaks, and so that it starts off talking about the trees and then becomes something else. But I feel like the trees kind of gave me this one. So it's got a neat little connection to seeing it in nature first that way. Okay. The trees stick out like great cracked open eggshells against the autumn morning, bulbous and jagged in silhouette without leaves to coat their branches. Only the birds will come and go now, like a stark reminder of the harshness left by the leaves in their lacking. Wild and bare, resting untouched by the hands of man, they're changed only by the inertia of their forward movement through time. But what is hatched from this loss? Like the shattering of an egg broken by a strike from within, a new life must be born when the grasp of change comes upon itself. We must break and change, release and renew, for newness to take us beyond. It takes the crack of change striking from within to allow a baby bird to hatch. If we blame what has come on us from outside of us for all the causes and effects of the struggle of daily life, we will not hold hands with change. She dances like a maiden in the forests of old, untamed and unafraid of brashness. If we decide that we're the makers of our own true destiny, that we're the shapers of our very own lives, then we are like the baby bird who cracks open the eggshell of life. Here we can find that nothing that happens to us has any power. It's all in how we react. Will you let your eggshell be broken from the outside, afflicted and controlled by outside scenarios and the actions of others? Or will you be the baby bird who strikes at it from within, who grasps a hold of the powers of change and says, "Do what you will, I am the driver of my own destiny. I will hatch from this day and emerge anew. Like a new life, I emerge now from these pages, sparkling with the dew of a new morning." Shattered eggshells.
Wow. Well, I find it even more moving when you read it versus versus just reading it myself in the book. Yes, that's something. You definitely the little bird.
Thanks. Yeah, and sometimes those like the cute little tiny things like baby birds, like they have like the biggest lessons for us.
That's right. Yes. Now, are you doing a tour in Connecticut at all about this particular book and actually reading poems?
I've done more stuff like this, like working with different podcast hosts and videos online and stuff. And then I have them for sale here in my mom's store. I've done some things with that, and like I do like craft fairs and shows with my photography, so I'll bring books and kind of do it as a combo. But yeah, nothing out really in person. But yeah, some great folks on doing the things online.
Yeah, all of that is wonderful. For some reason, I can see you standing at a podium reading poems and people just listening and feeling that energy and being in the space that you are.
That's
with
nice.
What you're sharing.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed too, like, as I read it, you're getting like the way it sounded in my head, like the timing and the like special attention on certain phrases or something. So yeah, that does add a little element to it. Yeah. I've always thought it's cool writing books, that I like it that something helpful can like go out and be in somebody's house like without me knowing about it. And then that way, like I saw that especially with my grandfather's work, like man, like the global reach of his first Love, Medicine, and Miracles. That's cool to hear, like all these people that like never met him, he never like got hands on them and helped them. It's all the words reaching out to people. I like that idea, and like the books can last longer than us and keep helping future generations. And that's part of why I like writing. It'll make its way out and help in its own way.
Yeah, it has a life of its own, and it goes on long after we are gone. Yeah, it's a legacy in a sense. But for some reason I can see you at different colleges, or making speeches.
Yeah, it would be cool someday.
Yes. I mean, what do you see yourself, or how do you see yourself in 5 years? I mean, you've evolved so much, and obviously we are all evolving as long as we're here. But what do you see yourself doing or being 5 years from now?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I like to leave room for surprises because it does continue to open up in different ways. But yeah, I love writing, and I continue to get more ideas sort of just come to me. So I have a whole list of like future book outlines and things like that. So yeah, I'm working on more, and I like to write. I like to say fiction fantasy because there is like an exciting kind of like a fiction element where you're carrying along with the character, you're in the story. But within whatever I'm writing, I like to have like real spiritual elements and like writing archetypal stories where you're growing along with the character. You kind of catch on to certain things that they're learning, like at an emotional and spiritual character development level. Then I feel like if people read it in a book and like they're in it enough with the character, it's like, well, maybe you don't have to go through that tough lesson in your own life. You pick it up through this. So I got a couple works in progress, but one that's really been calling my attention more lately, and looking at like a character-driven story, but very spiritual with different things he's going through. So I think that'll be fun. That'll hopefully be out like sooner than later.
Really? Well, you can come back on the show and share that with us when that time comes. You said something so moving, again, a lack of other adjectives, but just moving, because I think most of us that want to make a difference, and those of us that are either teaching or writing or all of those things that we, aspire or actually do, our main objective is to have that person understand at every level and not have to go through that, especially if it's, heavy and complex and just hard to do. If you can save one person from experiencing it at that depth, maybe they'll experience it, but it won't be as harsh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really important, I think, with all of us.
Thanks. That's nice. The cover photo on my book is a picture I took in Koyasan. It's a World Heritage Site, like temple town in a part of Western Japan, and it's a really old place. It's like almost 1,200 years old now, and the photo is a lantern lit at night path with the old cedar trees and everything. But actually the guy that founded that temple, like in the 9th century, they have books he's written, and some of them have been translated into English, and really cool, like philosophical, spiritual stuff. But one of those books he wrote is Attaining Enlightenment in This Very Existence. And I look at that title and read the translation of it, and that's part of the focus of what I'm working on with my books and photos and everything, is like it helps me writing it and gives me a boost. But like, let's reach this out to like as many people as we can, like attain enlightenment in this very existence. That's kind of the goal of the whole thing. So yeah, want to help as much as we can. Yes.
Imagine this book. I just had a flash. Imagine this book in the administration that we have in the government.
Yeah, we'll mail
now.
Some copies in.
Yes, and then even all the people that want war, and those that are, looking for power, and they're so far from their hearts. Wouldn't it be amazing for each of them to have this book?
Yeah, that would be cool. And I like to think of it that the folks that do want to read it and get some help from it, it's like the ripples go out, like we're a little kinder to each other. You find your peace in your own way, so hopefully the ripples will keep going out, help the whole group.
Yes, and that's why this type of book is so important, because there needs to be a balance with the energies in the collective, with love and the heavy, or say love and fear, because that's what really that other is. Imagine if we can, that's why I always think that's what the station is doing. Each person that has a show or podcast, they're really elevating and feeding into, that collective consciousness. So
nice.
it will become more balanced. And wouldn't it be incredible if the collective, the love consciousness that I always talk about, imagine if it exceeded the balance, that it was raised even higher.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
it's like filling up a cup with water. Like everybody that adds in their positive stuff, like we're eventually going to reach the top. Just got to keep filling.
Yes, exactly. So I want to ask you too. We should take our second break.
Okay.
It's just that time. But I wanted to talk with you more about the martial arts, and if you're still doing that.
Yeah.
And good. So we'll talk about that, and when we also come back, if you'd like to share another poem, that would be excellent.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, great. Everyone stay with us. More with Charlie Siegel in a moment.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids Children's Book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back, and there's still time to call in. Bob will put you through 833-220-1200. If you'd like to contact Charlie, and if you would like to give this book, it would be a beautiful gift. You can go on wisdomoftheages.biz, and it's B-I-Z, it's not .com, it's biz, and you can order an autographed copy from Charlie. You can also go on Facebook and Instagram to connect with him there. And then remember the site for the photos, Nature Photo by S as in Sam, C as in Candy.com. But I really believe this would be a beautiful gift for anyone. Would you say ages, even for a young teenager, correct?
I wrote it all like where you can connect with it easily. So definitely, I would say anywhere from like a mature 13-year-old up kind of thing. And it is on Amazon also. I don't think I mentioned that I did 4 different formats of this book when I put it together. So if you look up Awakening the Inner Light, to walk the path of the soul, or look up Charlie Siegel on Amazon. I've got my other 3 books, and then there's 4 versions of this one. So an ebook, a paperback with black and white photos, a paperback with color photos, or like a really nice hardcover where I did the fine art level photo prints all the way through it. So yeah, however you'd like it.
And some of those photo prints are the ones that are on your site that can be purchased.
Yep, I've got everything from the book and a ton more, too. And I'm still adding more new stuff all the time. The portfolio's kind of surprised me how big it's gotten with lots of photos.
I bet. I bet. And I had, again, they're striking, they're incredible. Every word that you could consider with a beautiful photo. And they're photos that you can just be with, stare at, and see what comes from them to you. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, I appreciate that. And yeah, on my website, I like it that you can do wall art and like all different kinds of things, like paper or canvas, or the metal are pretty cool now where they print it on a piece of metal, so it's kind of reflective. Wow. So there's a lot more. And then like little gifty things too, like tote bags and T-shirts and pillows and mugs. And it's neat, like pick your favorite picture and get it as something you'd use every day.
Is that on your, are you actually, do you have the mugs and the iPhone covers, things like that, right on that site?
I do, yep. Any picture that you click on, it's all broken into like themed categories of photos from like by the country and by the theme, and then each one you click on, it'll list like all the many things you can get it made into, and I work with a printing company, so it'll like be custom made just how you want it.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't click. I viewed them, but I did not click.
Yeah, so that's cool. Sometimes people have told me they go through it like a little meditation, just scrolling through all the pictures, and that's nice too.
Wow, that is amazing. Wow. All right. Well, I'm with you with the energy, and it's very calming. And why don't you choose another poem and read that?
Sure. I was looking through while we were on break there. I thought we got a nice spiritual feel to our conversation tonight. I thought I'd go back into the Light of the World chapter, so more of the spiritual and God-focused poetry. But this is one that right before I was going to publish the book, I had this like flurry of ideas, it ended up being like 6 more to write before it gets printed. And this is one of those that was just the end of last year. I wrote it. So it made its way in before it got printed. It's called Turn the Other Cheek. And I opened it with the quote out of Matthew, so like people know what I'm referring to. And then it's some other little added thoughts on that idea. So we'll read that one. And I'll start with the quote that's in the book here at the top. You've heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. Matthew 5:38-40. And then here my poem starts. And so I realized to turn the other cheek can share with us even further teachings, to find ways towards peace even where cheeks are not concerned. As the land becomes worn and infertile, till the other field. As the conversation becomes old and boring, choose a new topic. As the love feels lost or tired or forgotten, seek to reawaken it from its slumber. Just as a muscle grows weak and tired from repeated use, but will build new strengths when given time to rest, we can use the teachings of Turn the Other Cheek to guide our new steps. Let the worn things rest and empower the new. If a wound continues to be recreated by a relationship which has grown disease, choose the path to healing. Choose to turn the other cheek rather than leaving the one exposed who has been injured. Choose to change and choose to have peace. Whatever choices have led you astray, whatever steps have put you on a path with stones that are all the wrong size for your feet, choose to turn the other cheek and make the changes required to have peace. Do what you can to choose to have peace in your mind, peace in your life, and be a vehicle for the peace in your everyday actions. You can spread peace like a salve on the cheeks of those around you when you see them injured, and help them to heal, to give their wounded cheeks a rest. Turn the other cheek and turn over a new leaf and turn things around. Leave no stone unturned and turn to your heart to ask what it wants for you. Maybe it wants a fresh start. Maybe it wants to turn the other cheek.
I love that, Charlie.
Thanks.
Came
to me just in time for this one.
Yes. I mean, there's so many nuggets inside of the one poem to kind of hang on even before you go to the next part. I mean, It's really, you definitely have a gift.
Thanks.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, I've had fun sometimes, like taking a line or two out of a poem and like putting it on a picture print. That sometimes it is like I'll be writing along and be like a certain line really connects with me, where like that could be its own standalone thing.
Yes. Yes. Well, you're going to be, you could be Eckhart Tolle, in another 5 years.
Yeah, working on getting all this goodness out there.
Yes.
And there's some short stories in the book too. Somewhere in there, I decided to include a section from my first book that's a short novel that I wrote really to help people going through grief. But it's a cool spiritual story anyway. Conversations with an Angel. I took a piece of that and put it in as a short story. There's a few others with like characters dealing with like life choices and having like something happen that changes their mind. There's one with people again like met by an angel but changing their mindset from like asking for like good weather in life to like, okay, let's ask for like good weather in us, in our mind. So there's some fun longer things in there too that I think are not too long to read aloud now, but they're mixed through it.
Yeah, it's definitely a work of art, period, not only with the photography, but the words that you are choosing and how you weave them together. I really feel that everyone should have this book and buy a couple of them for gifts. I'm so glad. I don't usually purchase the books. The authors will send them, but I just felt compelled to have a copy long before we actually did this interview. So
that's cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's also deserving. So we only have like a few minutes. So tell us a bit about, you've been doing martial arts for how many years, and what has, as you've evolved, has your practice evolved?
Yeah, I'm 30 now, and I started when I was 4, and I figure I'll just always be doing it. I used to do a different art that was more, I always say it's like the punch kick stuff you see like in movies and on TV. I did that from when I was 4 until 23, so like 19 years. And but when I was 13, I met my current teacher, and he's the focus of my third book that came before this one too. Roy Goldberg Sheehan is the head of our Kiyamakai organization of a martial art that Daitaryu Aikido Jiu-Jitsu. It's like a bit of a mouthful when you're new to it. But like if you've seen Aikido like in schools around you or on TV or anything, that historically the founder of Aikido studied the art that I do now for a long time, and then broke away and founded Aikido with a lot of the principles and changed some things and stuff. So there's some similarities, but there's quite a bit of differences too. But yeah, I met him when I was 13 and just was kind of enamored with like this art is different. It's a 1,200-year-old samurai martial art, and it feels different. You work on a lot of different things, and kind of did some classes here and there with him for a while, and then switched over about 8 years ago now. I was like, this is what I'm doing. Started training in this, and now I lead some classes in Simsbury, Connecticut, and I travel with my teacher a lot. And I say I always fly places, throw people, get thrown, fly back. It's good training. But it definitely is like an internal practice. Like it very soon transcends self-defense and becomes like a practice for yourself. Like connecting with yourself helps you like psychologically in life. There's a lot of cool elements to it, and I find it to be like a endless art. Like the longer you train, you just keep finding that there's more cool stuff to learn.
Does that feed into your writing and your poetry and vice versa?
I find that it does. I feel that I've like grown a lot in myself through training in these last several years. It's like a big part of who I am. So then it does influence some of the way I think. There's certain like key elements in like the way you move, and that the art in our organization really focuses on connection. That like, okay, you got this person attacking you, but like, let me subtly off balance them and connect to them. It's a whole other mindset to it, and a fun practice. So that it does kind of feed into some of my writing. And I never would have been to Japan, I don't think, if it wasn't for traveling with my teacher. I got to go 3 times with him, and then that's opened up a whole other area of my photography and some writing too. So yeah, Beautiful. It all supports each other.
Beautiful. Well, you are quite a human being.
I appreciate it.
It's a process. Yes, but you are not just a human being. You are a soul, and it's a benevolent soul. I can feel it. I felt it before when we were together on your grandfather's show. It's just, you are a beautiful soul, and I thank you for that. And I think that you're on this earth at this time because you're making a difference every day. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I surely want to hear from you when your next book is completed and we can get together again.
Yeah, and thank you so much for supporting all my work, and it means a lot that you've been enjoying it yourself, too. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And for everyone out there listening, buy the book, Awakening the Inner Light to Walk the Path of the Soul, Charlie Siegel, Siegel. You can go on wisdomoftheages.biz and order an autographed copy. Until we come together again in love consciousness, bye for now. Au revoir.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week. All designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one. and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.